small motorcycles. No matter how small the engine is, the important thing is to make it appear bigger than it really is. Right? This may be relatively easy when big plastic sections are used. But when we take those plastics out of the equation, the challenge becomes way harder. Fortunately, I found one builder who knows how to do it. Therefore, I cannot show you one single project of his. Yes, you heard well. Because he has so many impressive projects, it would be a mistake to show only one. Welcome to Racer TV. This machine may not look impressive at first sight, but after seeing the before and the after, then you will realize how good this build really is. Like I said, a very impressive machine. This is the Cola project. It is based on a Honda TMX 125 Alpha. A very simple motorcycle, and popular in many countries. And even more popular, after saying that underneath, it is basically a Honda CG. You are going to be amazed by what this builder made using this Honda and other similar small motorcycles. But this project is definitely my favorite. It was built by Shiegfred Phyle Dichos and his team from Garahe Customs, located in the Philippines. Shiegfred Phyle is only 23 years old. But when we look at this awesome Honda, it seems it was built by someone with a lot of experience. If we hide the engine, it is very easy to say, this is probably a 500cc motorcycle. And this is quite an achievement. As you can imagine, the modifications list is quite extensive. Most of them are quite obvious. But what is really interesting to know is what makes this Honda look bigger than it really is. The extended swing arm is definitely the most important of all. Notice how the general stance became much more balanced. The wider wheels and the new suspension are also important on this matter. But the strangest thing is this fuel tank that came from a 70s Honda CB125. Although it is shorter than the original one, it still looks good on the project. To find out why this happened, I tried the original fuel tank on the Cola project using Photoshop. And curiously, it fitted nicely too. But here's the interesting part. If you look closely, using the small fuel tank, everything else seems bigger. In other words, the secret is keeping the right proportions. And here is the proof. Let's compare it with this awesome CB550. It sounds stupid, doesn't it? And here it is. I bet you weren't expecting that. Amazingly, all the proportions are very close. Although the TMX 125 is obviously smaller, the overall stance is incredibly near to a Honda CB550. But now, let's see another great project, with which you will probably experience a déjà vu sensation. I am sure the color and the general lines will look familiar to most of you. Right? Is what you were thinking about. Is it not? The inspiration source may be quite obvious, but the impressive factor is the donor motorcycle. Because a Honda Hornet has absolutely no similarities with a TMX 150. Just like the previous project, if we compare them, the similarities are simply astonishing. Notice how the same proportions were maintained. This project's transformation may not be as successful as the previous one, but it definitely deserves our admiration. Shiegfred Phyle did a great job on this one, including the following machine. If I had to choose one word to describe this project, I would say bold. I am not saying that it looks perfect. The real interesting part is knowing the inspiration source this project was based on. But first, let me explain what bike is this one. Although the engine is from Keeway, it seems Benelli shares the same platform. Therefore, let us consider that the Dono motorcycle was a Keeway 152 Cafe Racer version. As this transition shows, this project required a lot of work. The swing arm was extended, a rear monoshock suspension, a bigger fuel tank, new front inverted forks, and so on. But let's now see the source of inspiration. You have to admit that trying to create something similar to a custom BMW from a small motorcycle is really a bold ambition. But somehow, Shiegfred Phyle's work is beyond what anyone could expect. Horizontally, the proportions are excellent. But vertically, we have to recognize, it is very hard to replicate the height of a BMW fuel tank. And this is the perfect moment to show another interesting machine. I don't remember seeing anyone else trying this approach on a small motorcycle. Believe it or not, the fuel tank is really from a BMW R series. And this is something I've always wanted to see. A big and bulky BMW fuel tank on a small motorcycle. Surprisingly, it doesn't look as big as I thought. And again, that is because Shiegfred Phyle has the big talent of making small motorcycles look bigger. As you see, the project started with a Honda XR200. A very tall motorcycle, which can be the ideal choice to create a voluptuous Scrambler project. But let's compare it with the inspiration source. As you see, contrary to the previous project, this one only fails on the horizontal view. There is too much open space on this section. I think maybe a bigger seat, a different rear and front suspensions, could solve all the problems. Therefore, I could not resist to try them on Photoshop. Much better. Don't you agree? Even though it's not perfect, I admire this Scrambler project, because it shows that with some additional changes, it is possible to get close to the proportions of a BMW Scrambler. I cannot end this episode without showing other great beautiful projects from this same builder. They may not be as interesting as the 4 motorcycles already presented, but they are beautifully made and a real pleasure to look at. I must confess that making this video was much more work than usual. But I had to do it to prove how the right proportions are essential when working with small motorcycles. On this point, Shiegfred Phyle is really a master. And I hope all of his awesome machines could teach and inspire many of you. Thank you for watching Racer TV. And as always, I hope to see you on the next video. But until then, don't forget that next Sunday, May 22nd, and after 2 years of pandemic, there will finally be a distinguished gentleman's ride. For those who never heard about it, it is a global custom motorcycle event, which will help raise funds for men's health. For more information, I recommend you click the link on the video description.